Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Play the Hits. I know how much everybody was thinking, boy, I sure wish it was still 2020. Well, Square-Enix has your back, because 1 year later, here's the remake of the game nobody asked for. How you doing, Nick?
You say that like Square Enix has run out of ideas.
No, they're rife with great ideas. Didn't you see the pixel perfect, not quite remakes of the first 6 games we're getting, and the origin story of the Warrior of Light? Come on, Nick.
Oh, that reminds me. At E3, they announced they're doing a pixel perfect remake of the first 6 games.
Yes. So
is this the only game you haven't played on your channel yet that's Final Fantasy based?
Oh no, there's tons of FFs we haven't.
You played
done.
4. You played 6.
We've done 4, 6. We did the original. The original 7 was the first one that Max and I ever did, because it was about
okay.
Because I was
right.
actually fun story about Play the Hits. I had no technology for streaming going into this. We were literally just doing it off the PS4's built-in thing, and it looked and sounded like hot garbage. So, you know.
I think I remember that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we made do. We still do make do, but... So, Nick, question for you before we go into any of this. Do you want me to do a totally new game from, like, level 1, or are you cool with me doing a new game plus so that we don't have to grind on camera?
Oh, God, yes. Please do a new game plus.
New game plus it is.
Yeah, I get the gist of the combat.
Yeah.
It's action RPG. I get it. I played Dark Souls.
Right. So, here's the fun thing that we're going to do. Luckily, if you notice, we're playing on the PS5 now, so the
wow,
the
it doesn't
load
even
times...
have like an intro.
Yeah, no, the load times are instantaneous, which is great.
This is where the game starts? There's no opening credits?
No, so I've got to go to chapter select, which is why I had to do that. So.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know. I saw the demo for this game and thought, oh, that's interesting. Maybe it'll come to Steam at some point.
I'm pretty sure that's got to be on the table here soon, because Square Enix is making half their money off Steam these days.
I mean, I think it's... Is it on the Epic Game Store, but it was exclusive or some such?
Oh, is it? I don't think there's a PC version. But anyways, here's the real intro. Which is a bit like the old intro, only they give you a little bit more of the world building here. They also can't resist playing that sweet, sexy Sephiroth music in the background.
Christ. Like 5 seconds into it before we had to get a Sephiroth reference. Remember when Sephiroth was just a guy who was in the game instead of like emblematic of everything in the game?
Well, right. So we've talked about this a bit on the channel before.
Apparently it's slated to be released on the Epic Game Store, and then after its exclusivity runs out, it will be on Steam. So.
Oh, interesting. Boy, Epic is still really trying to, conquer by attrition, aren't they?
Well, they got all that sweet, sweet Chinese money from Tencent, so they can do this kind of stuff between that and the Unity engine license.
Uh-huh. So we talked about this on this channel before we ever even committed to playing the remake. But the biggest issue with this game, and I've told you, it's an extremely fun game to play. If it were, the combat and the graphics, I would be singing this game's praises.
What the hell is this? This is like steampunk Victorian England.
Yes. So, but where it really falls apart is when you actually get into the parts where they decided to take some artistic liberties with the narrative, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not a purist who's saying that you can't add on to the game's narrative. What I am saying is that they seem to inform all of those decisions based on how can we shoehorn Zack and Sephiroth into every single waking moment of this fucker, and like that seems to be what informed their design choices. And you'll see more of that as we go along. Like,
is this going to be one of those things where like they have an interesting world concept, but they neglect that and completely focus on fan service?
Yeah, actually, I think that summarizes it very well. And overall, like, this probably could have been my game of the year for 2020, but it ended up being like a solid maybe 7 out of 10 for me, which is still good, but it's a lot worse than it should have been.
Is Eris doing this world's equivalent of huffing air conditioner fumes?
Yeah, I think she was trying to get high off that cracked pipe there.
Strangely enough, interesting fact about Aerith, her voice actor is completely making her career off of this one role.
Oh, good for her. Well,
yeah, she became like a Twitter darling off of this, and she's just like such a great, sincere person that it's like,
cool.
It's heartwarming.
Well, and that's great too, because one area where this game excels is that what I really wanted this game to do was clean up the translation issues that plagued the original, so that we finally actually understood what Uematsu was trying to do plot-wise.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get much original vision in parts 2 and 3.
Well, I don't really know. Or if parts 2 and 3 are just going to remain like these elusive things for the next 5 to 10 years while they figure out...
What will happen is they're going to bring in Ryan Johnston to go ahead and direct,
completely
part
derail
2.
the plot in the second act. Yeah. Aerith doesn't die and Cloud's not the main character anymore because fuck what you think Final Fantasy VII is all about.
How do you subvert expectations in the second act of this game, I wonder?
Yeah, right. Well, but, it's... I'm kind of curious.
Aerith kills Sephiroth at the end of Disc 2.
Aerith becomes the final boss.
Oh my god, wait, we might be onto something
we might actually be. Well, That's
such a clever plot twist. I'm positive that Square-Enix wouldn't have the guts to do it.
No. Well, what pisses me off more than anything, though, is I think where they're going... Well, I know where they're going, is that Zack is going to be a much more integral part of the story, which is just fucking stupid because, this game wasn't exactly Shakespearean to begin with, but the one thing that it really nailed were the themes of sacrifice, right? Zack sacrificed himself so that Cloud could be Cloud, and now Aerith sacrificed herself so that, the planet can be saved. Likewise, these three chumps who you see here at the beginning, they all sacrifice themselves so that for Avalanche's cause. That's kind of the running theme of the whole game. But the remake seems bound and determined to undo any narrative tension brought on. It's kind of like FF4 all over again, where you think everyone's dead, but no one's really dead.
No one ever really dies,
because then we
Chris.
can't sell
Just
their
like
action
in Star
figures.
Wars.
And no one will be cosplaying them. What do you want, Britt?
How does Zack die?
Who goes there?
How much of the original did you play?
I played all of it, and I remember most of it, I guess.
Oh, well, so Zack was, in the original game, Zack was really only in one flashback. He
was in the flashbacks, right,
yeah,
right.
And there was a hidden sequence that you could view by going back to Nibelheim, and that showed how he died, which was he escaped Hojo's lab with Cloud, brought him to Midgar, but the soldiers caught up to him and Zack died protecting Cloud.
I just remember there was so much flashback frickery that I lost track of what was present and what was the past.
Yeah.
Do we ever actually see him taken to Hojo's?
If you played Crisis Core, you did.
Yeah, well,
no. So, but anyway, so that's the thing.
I did not need to see the celebrity-paid cameo for Genesis's character model in that game. That was not enough of a draw for me.
What was his name? Gat. Yeah.
Not to be confused with Johnny Gat from Saints Row.
Oh yeah, Gacked out of hell. Yeah, I remember that. But anyways, yeah. So I don't know. I guess. So Zack's popularity, truthfully, rose from the convention scene, right? He's like Cloud, but he's got black hair instead of blonde hair, and I guess his design is a little cooler, so people love to cosplay as him, and he became kind of this fan favorite. And so Square's response to that was, well, clearly, if people love him so much, we should make his sacrifice totally meaningless, and thereby cancel out the reason people loved him in the first place. So I don't know.
So what's Soldier Boy's
Well,
deal?
if we kill
Is
him
he one
off,
of us
we
now?
can't sell merchandise with his face on
That's
it.
right.
What
That's
was his
right.
name again?
And so
Just like how Darth Vader has to
Right.
appear in every
And he
Star
isn't a
Wars movie
soldier
for
anymore.
5 seconds so that
Yeah,
they
right.
can
He's
sell
a professional.
toasters
unlike
that
the
put
rest
Darth
of us.
Vader's image on your toast.
yeah,
Slap
no,
that.
don't you forget, Nick. The Rogue One version of Vader had
This is a
slightly
one-time
more
gig.
red lenses
When it's
on his
done,
helmet than
we're
the
done.
New Hope version of Vader.
Oh
So-
god, did I tell you I watched Rogue One 2 weeks ago?
You didn't like Rogue One?
What an enormous piece of shit.
I loved Rogue One.
You know what Rogue One should have been? Rogue One should have been a fun Ocean's 11 style heist movie.
I loved Rogue One.
Wouldn't that have been great instead of this dark, melodramatic mess?
See, I thought it was great to see Star Wars where the Jedi weren't fucking everywhere.
You know, I think it would have been even better with no Jedi. Like I said, do like an awesome little heist movie where like they got to do like, you know, they got to steal the plans from the Death Star, but something goes wrong. You've seen Ocean's 11. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. That would have been fun
Well, until they all died at the end.
because they had to. Because
Well, because that's what the original plot set up, yeah.
because we have to connect these two movies.
Right. No, Rogue One
Yeah,
had
that
its rust
movie
like
was
that
just-
stupid
that
Princess
movie was
Leia
just-
cameo and...
That was just Star Wars porn, the movie. Like everything they had to shoe in from, hey, here's AT-AT walkers and ATSTs.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, so ultimately...
Not my cup of tea.
I've shared this with Max, and I'll share it with you. My favorite thing about Star Wars right now is completely nothing to do with the movies. I think The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch, those are the best things going on in Star Wars right now.
Bad Batch is a continuation of essentially the favorite characters from the animated series, right?
No, it's actually a whole new cast.
I thought it followed Rex, but I guess I'm wrong.
No, it follows a group of stormtroopers who were like modified to like do special missions, but as a result they've kind of lost their like they basically gave them more agency. They kind of have their own free will. They're not controlled by the Emperor. So when Order 66 rolls around, they're kind of just going, what the hell is this? And they like basically defect.
You know, I always thought that was the most horrifying thing in the Star Wars universe was the idea of Order 66.
Yeah, and it actually
where all of a sudden it's like, oh, all right, I guess we start killing Jedi now without
Right.
any second thought.
Yeah, and
that
what's
was-
kind of crazy is that the even though this is an animated, for all intents and purposes, kids show, they really don't shy away from that. It's just like, yeah, we're not gonna just start fucking murdering Jedi because you told us to. So, but yeah, you should check that out. I mean, that and The Mandalorian, I think, are both excellent television.
I guess to know what you're watching these days.
Actually, what I just finished watching these days, and I know I'm 2 years late to this party, but I watched the Watchmen show, and was pleasantly surprised.
Nothing to it.
This is Watchmen season 2, right?
No, there's only one season.
This is the What is this?
So it's an HBO 9-episode series.
This is the one where it's like Alan Moore's Watchmen, but it's like Black Lives Matter or something.
Yes,
right?
it's the sequel to.
I thought there was something. Okay, the sequel to the movie. It was number 2 of something.
Yeah, no, it is a direct sequel, but it's also like
Okay.
it takes place in 2019, but you know, Watchmen's 2019.
Oh god, it's gonna be one of those things where it's like, oh, we're gonna talk about issues relevant to today.
Kind of, sort of, but it's actually, I mean, I can't describe a single point of it without spoiling it, but it is phenomenal. Like,
When I have to get an HBO membership to watch the regular show movie, I will probably watch that as well. So I guess I'll hold off on spoilers.
yeah, just do a free trial and knock it out in a week.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of when things feel they need to like with the Picard show.
Uh huh.
the newest Star Trek. Like I hate when they gotta feel like they gotta put in issues relevant to today because it's like I want my escapism to be not resembling the problems that I'm dealing with every day.
Well, so what it does is it's not like they shoehorn in like the racial tension. It was very much there in Alan Moore's original. They just elaborate on it more, and they use it as kind of the
at all.
It's kind of like the background for kind of the central plot.
He always knows just what
With
to
the
say.
brain monster?
Yes. And
He was
that's all I'll
racist?
say, because like I said, if I say any more about the brain monster, I will give away like everything. But it is brilliantly casted. It's brilliantly
Whatever you
written.
say, the brain monster is the
It's a
key
good
to
thing I know
everything.
someone who can
Yes.
give us the passcodes.
But
Pity no one
oh,
else
how do I
at the
even
lab will
say
talk
it?
to us,
Like
but
I
what
could.
can you do?
It was one of those shows where like I legitimately didn't call the plot.
Careful in there.
Like they do lead you to believe it's like a simple like okay, there's this like group of like neoconservative Rorschach worshippers, and they're like trying to start a race war. But then like by episode 4, it's I mean that plot thread is still there, but it's very clear that that's not the real story.
Never really kind of understood that because Alan Moore hated Rorschach and like
Yeah.
thought it was despicable.
Yeah.
But now it's
So,
like,
you know
hey,
Tifa, right?
look at
It's not
Rorschach.
really my
Everybody loves
business,
him.
but
Well,
are you
no,
guys close?
the white supremacists love him. they
did anybody know who Rorschach was?
Okay, so
Because he was just kind of like a nobody, but like I guess at the end of the movie he like drops off that manifesto. Or
yes,
something?
and so that
Wait,
manifesto
this
gets
wasn't in the demo.
gets published, and no, you're right, it wasn't. The manifesto gets published, and most people think it's despicable, like you said, conspiracy theory nonsense. But then, you know, a certain group of people that really appeals to them, and so naturally, some higher evil superpower is going to look at these people and think, how can I use these chuckleheads for my own private gain? And that lays
That's interesting.
that lays the bedrock of the story. I really can't go any deeper into detail than that, but there's a couple of key characters that I know you in particular would love.
We're about to see Solid Snake from the 4th game.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're
That's
completely
always
not
bugged
wrong.
me. I knew this guy looked
These
like
sewer
someone.
rats appear to call themselves Avalanche, sir.
There he is.
Yeah.
We are currently investigating
And then
whether they
right here
belong
is
to the
his
same
clone,
group that
Blonde
made the
Snake.
attempt on your life. Rest assured,
There
our
he is.
inquiries will not take
But I mean,
much
really, like,
longer.
did they mean for those two men to look so alike, other than the hair color?
This
I don't-
false sole purpose is to drain the
I don't know
planet
if they
dry.
look alike.
While you
Or
sit,
is that just
while you
like
eat,
their
while
rich
you
white
sit,
man face?
It is sucking up Mako. It doesn't rest and it doesn't care.
I love how
Do you think
intense
this-
they made
Realize
Barrett.
what Mako is, don't you?
Uh-huh.
Mako is the lifeblood of our world. The planet bleeds green like you and me bleed red. The hell you think's gonna happen when it's all gone, huh? Answer me!
Like, you know, you kind of imagine
You
them
gonna
one way when you
stand
see their
there
little
and
text
pretend
bubbles on the
you can't hear the
PS1.
planet crying out in pain?
But I kind of
know
like the
you
direction
can.
they took with him. Like, he's trying to get Cloud riled up, and it just
Damn
doesn't
straight
work.
I do.
You saying he's trying to provoke him?
Yes. Get help.
Say that again.
So Barrett's supposed to be like 8 feet tall, and Cloud's like up to his nose. Like, again. Like, why did they make
Yeah,
Cloud so
they're-
tall?
They're facing down each other like Holyfield and Paul Logan during that boxing match.
Like, did they think Cloud wasn't heroic enough if he was short? Or, I don't know.
Chris, how can he be my self-insert fantasy character if he's not physical perfection?
You listening, Merc?
But I will say it again, though.
Gun
really...
safety, dude.
None.
That happens.
Well, so much
Barrett-
for
Barrett
I
having
like
is-
us
how
do all
he
the
shot
fighting.
below it and it fell.
Right?
There's some
Barrett is
places a
deeply
sword
about
just
his
can't
Second
reach.
Amendment rights.
His Second Amendment is his First Amendment.
Right? That's why he got it grafted onto his arm. They can't make him take it off in grocery stores.
Yeah.
See? Look at him.
Should have asked for more money.
So Nick, is Jessie your waifu yet?
Well, I mean, they've only showed one female character. I'm not ready to commit.
Not ready to commit.
Gonna throw your sword at him? Let the man with the gun
do what I want.
work. These tin cans ain't got nothing on me.
Okay, so while we have a minute,
Yes.
hold on. I almost missed my opportunity. So I noticed we were talking about superhero shows.
Yes.
Have I ever mentioned how much I hate Marvel and how I think superhero shows are juvenile and stupid?
No, but do enlighten me.
I'd like to take a moment now to talk about my new favorite show. It's called Invincible, and it's about superheroes.
Invincible, eh?
Yeah, if you've got an Amazon Prime membership, give it a check out for a few episodes. I'm absolutely in love with this, and I hate everything.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, don't read up, just kind of go in fresh, but it's a little bit of like a fresh take on like, oh, what if you're Superman's son? What does that world look like?
Right.
It's like my guilty, I don't even want to say guilty pleasure. Like, it's well written enough to where I feel like I don't have to make excuses. Like, I got legitimate laughs out of this show as opposed to my, oh god, this is so pathetic, I'm gonna give it a laugh.
Okay.
Like I did with the Zack Snyder Justice League movie.
Oh, hey, I did watch that too with my HBO subscription, and yeah, you pretty much I will say you called that one pretty much right on.
Yeah, my friend and I had to watch that in 2 settings. All we got was a longer version of a mediocre movie.
You know, I kind of got the feeling that I was still watching a superior version of something, but
it was, yeah.
It was superior to the original, but still just not a good film.
It was a more realized version than the original. I mean, it was more coherent.
Sure. Well, and I didn't see the original, so I had nothing to stack it against.
Oh, you didn't see the original?
I did not. I just couldn't. Like, I was so uninvested in the DC universe at that point that I just didn't care to give it its due.
Oh, I went to just see the crap show.
Yeah. So I
went
watched
to see the dumpster fire.
Oh, I went to the theaters and watched Suicide Squad, and I decided no more.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm just not having fun. Like,
yeah, I think they're talking about releasing the original cut of that, but again, why?
Who gives a shit?
So what did you think? What was your opinion of
I felt like it was a 4-hour film that could have been an hour and a half long.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree.
Like, literally, they spend 3 hours and 45 minutes getting to fucking Superman, and then you get Superman, and it's just carnage. Like, meaningless carnage on the screen with no real consequences because the real villain is just kind of there for the stare down at the end. And like...
He's there until Superman shows up.
Which, don't get me wrong, like, there's nothing wrong with, like, saving the big baddie for the sequel, but for 3 hours and a half, they really build it up like the big baddie is the big baddie, and then all they do is fucking kill Steppenwolf, and Steppenwolf is bland and uninteresting. Like
yeah,
I felt nothing for like the villain or the plot of the heroes, and like again, the direct comparison is Marvel's Avengers, right? Where each character, like, you know and love each character.
Well, they took 10 years to set that up. They took 3 years to set this up.
Right, and the only characters that you really knew up to that point were Batman and Superman. And
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that's right. Wonder Woman was in the previous one as well. But like,
she's had the best movie out of all 3 of those.
She did, yeah. But then like the Flash, he was a fine character, but I didn't fucking know. Like, I never got super invested in DC comics when I was a kid. I was more of a Marvel reader, and so like I went into that like not knowing all of the Flash's background, right? So the movie was supposed to explain that to me, and instead I feel like I kind of got this weird mess. Like, why is his dad in jail? And they explained a little bit more of the Cyborg.
The Flash runs fast. That's all of his character.
Yeah, I guess.
He runs fast, and for some reason he can't use that to get his father out of prison in 2 seconds.
Yeah, right?
He also can't convince Bruce Wayne at the end of the movie to get his father out of jail.
Right? He gets a job, but not a get out of, like, you know, maybe someone wants to correct the fact that his dad's in jail for a crime he didn't commit. I don't know. Anyways,
I mean, like, Bruce Wayne buys back the Kent Clark's mom's house, like,
right?
you know, clearly he can do something when he chooses to.
But only for the people he's intimidated by.
Let's see if little Stamp really can.
Oh,
bite
I
the
guess
hand
only
that
by the
feeds.
people he respects.
Yeah.
Go on.
Because he didn't help
Do
Ma
the
Kent
honors.
until Superman came back.
Prove to me you're the man Tifa says you are. That you're
Oh
one
God.
of us.
Yeah,
Never
no,
said
I
I'm just here for the paycheck.
it's a
I'm-
maybe like
I'm
a C-
convinced that-
for me if I
I'm
were to
convinced
grade
that
movies.
I'm convinced that Cyborg was Zack Snyder's self-insert because 2 hours of that movie is just everybody talking about how great Cyborg is, how powerful he is, and how everybody wants to be his friends.
And then he didn't
And
really
he's
do
the
anything.
ultimate
though.
hacker. Because
Yeah. And boy,
Um,
like the internet really like
there we
took
go.
off with that Joker cameo that was absolutely phenomenally meaningless unless you like read all of the Zack Snyder interviews and understood the background of everything.
no, I think that was just
I'm
like
fine.
wank,
What about the
like
timer?
like
Oh,
just
yeah,
5 minutes
absolutely it
of
was.
self-satisfaction at the end of that movie. Just Zack Snyder going nuts about a
Pretty
movie
cocky,
that
ain't
is
you?
never going to get made.
Absolutely. What yeah, I don't know.
Hey, speaking of meaningless, is there any point to choosing a different time?
Double crossing.
I think you get a trophy if you do 20 minutes, and 20 minutes is way more than you need anyways.
What?
Probably how they extend the demo.
Yes.
Hey, it's this boss from the first game, the original.
Hey, it's Sub-Zero. Oh wait, no.
This thing.
It's the other one.
Reinforced armor plating, but the internals can be
Oh,
overloaded.
yeah, Reptile.
Lightning magic.
Yeah, this thing is dead.
Smoke.
Smoke.
Airlock.
Noob Sci-Bi. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
boy, they really got their mileage out of that ninja.
Hey, did you see the new Mortal Kombat movie?
We were supposed to, but it
Never
it
seen
had
this
gone
defense
off
system
HBO Max the day before, so we had to watch the original.
Okay. So, full disclosure, part of the reason that I went ahead and did the 1 month of HBO Max is that in all of their advertising, they said, "Hey, you can watch Mortal Kombat and Godzilla on our service." But
Oh,
no, they only had
Godzilla,
it on
I
for a
wanna
month.
watch that. Yeah, it was a timed exclusive.
Yep. So, while I still very much enjoyed Watchmen and seeing both of the Blade Runner movies all over again,
Gotta be a weak point somewhere.
I will not be renewing my subscription because I have watched what I wanted to watch.
Yeah, same thing like me and Castlevania 4 for Netflix.
Oh yeah, hey, have you watched that yet?
When I get to it. No, I gotta finish up. I want to finish watching Invincible before I start anything else.
Oh, okay. I think you'll enjoy season 4 more than you did 3 for sure.
I should hope so because 3 was basically all set up for season 4.
That's exactly right. But to its credit, 4 delivers on everything in a very satisfying way.
Watch the tail. You don't want to be hit by that laser.
Huh? So, what do we
How many
do?
lasers do
Don't
you
get
want to
hit.
get hit by?
Right?
Take cover behind that debris.
Yes, I am taking cover.
Now, did you watch Donkey Kong? Oh my God, Kong versus.
Donkey Kong
Godzilla?
versus God. No, I missed that too, because fuck
Oh,
everything.
that was the time. Oh,
Yeah.
Jeez, that sucks.
They
That
straight up.
sucks.
It's dead.
I honestly wanted to watch that because apparently they cut out all the Bryan Cranston-esque crap, and it was just a monkey punching a lizard for 2 hours.
Yeah, I'd be down for that for sure.
An auto repair unit. Damn it. We gotta take it out quick or we're screwed.
So, going back to the game a little bit, one of the things that I really like about it is, the combat is very clearly action-oriented, but there's, I'm playing on New Game Plus where I'm doing this level 40, like way, way, way over-leveled. But
No, I remember this from the demo. This
Yeah.
took like 15 minutes.
there is a surprising amount of, care that has to be taken for boss fights in this. And like every boss, it's kind of like Chrono Trigger a little bit, where every boss has its own unique gimmick that you have to pay attention to. So, yeah, like that's another high point of this game, are the
These
boss
bosses
fights.
remind me of
You hear
Final
that?
Fantasy
Damn thing
XIV's
showed you how it's done.
raid bosses.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like
Gotta
that's
move.
kind of where they got some of these ideas from.
Yeah,
because it
and-
feels similar.
And in fact, yeah, there's a couple of aspects of this where I feel like they paid attention to what made FF14 so popular. Like they
14's a great game.
Oh, 14's a phenomenal game. And here too, like you have to watch the boss's attack patterns, and like they do telegraph like where they're gonna hit, and so you better not be where they're gonna hit. A treasure over here? Sure. But yeah, so what you're gonna notice is that for the first 6 or 7 chapters of this game, I'm just gonna be wiping the floor with everything.
Oh, and that's acceptable. I've seen combat before.
Yeah, and
I'm here for the story.
Yeah, the story. And you know, like, the fun thing about that is, though, too, there's still some challenge bosses that you or I could potentially take on just to see if I can do it. Which is kind of fun. But there won't be any on-camera grinding, which, whenever we play an RPG, that's always the most annoying part of those playthroughs. Like, even
it's usually
really,
when we bring up some sort of, like, asinine subjects.
Yeah, right. Like, even really, really good RPGs, eventually you're gonna have to stop and level up, and so that's kind of a droll.
Not really very much anymore with modern RPGs, though. That's really something that really doesn't translate too well. Hey, I like how time stopped for you.
Yeah, right. Time
yeah, like I can't imagine playing a grind-heavy RPG these days. Even doing some leveling up in like Final Fantasy IV just kind of feels irksome.
Well, so you're gonna hate me on this, but whenever I go on a family vacation, I always buy a game that's kind of my project for the week. And this year, against my better judgment, I went with Bravely Default 2, and I got fucking sucked right in.
Well, I mean it's
just Final Fantasy. It's just SNES era Final Fantasy is all that it is.
Right. I mean, I kind of guess it depends on how the game presents it. Like, strangely enough, I could probably grind on 4 because that was such a well-designed game. But yeah. I'm trying to think of like another example, like 9, not so much as I love 9. Yeah.
Well, the nice thing about 9, though, was that the grinding had less to do with your levels and more with, like, how much you were paying attention to what abilities you had on their equipment.
That's a valid point.
Like I've seen like really dedicated FF9 diehards do speedruns of that game where they basically don't level up. They just attach certain abilities and they can make it work.
Yeah, that game had so many neat systems that I feel like they were underutilized because there's really no good optional dungeon or boss to try that stuff out. Or work it to its maximum.
Yeah.
How was Bravely Default? I've always been interested in that series, just never had the time.
So Bravely Default, I played through the first one on the DS. Interestingly enough, the week my son was born, because, you know, we were... Connor was born because we were, you know, seated in the hospital for like a week. And so when I wasn't helping out the baby or when he was sleeping, which was a lot, I would just pop out my DS and play that. It was really good, and unfortunately, like, fell apart in a not great way in, like, the final act. Like, it basically made you retread a bunch of ground for no real reason before you could get to the real final battle. And like, it just kind of dragged on for, like, an additional 10 hours that really didn't need to be there.
Oh, kind of like that whole awkward card thing from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, or maybe like at the end of Wind Waker when you have to find the Triforce and there's really no way that you would know how to find the Triforce, so you just sail around for 12 hours until you find the Triforce.
You know,
basically.
I guess I never really minded that because I didn't mind.
No.
I was already cleaning up all the treasure charts anyway, so it just kind of happened.
But I can see where, like, if someone's like really like, okay, I'm ready to finish the game, it does.
Right, like I'm done.
Yeah, it does grind to a halt at that point in the game.
Yeah, I guess that's where the difference. But oh my God, did you know that they're doing a remake of Wind Waker?
Wait, they are?
Yeah, now they're
putting it on the Switch finally.
Well, they're supposed to be doing it in a combo pack with Twilight Princess. You pay for Twilight Princess, you get Wind Waker free, I guess.
Whoa, wait, for real?
I think it was announced at E3.
Oh my God, I missed that. I've been waiting forever for that. I will absolutely be buying it. Just for Wind Waker alone, Twilight's fine, and I would like to play it in HD once, but Wind Waker is one of my favorite.
Now, what else? They're supposed to be doing a redo of 1 through 6, and...
Oh yeah, FF1 through 6. I'm not sure what to make of that yet. Like, I saw some of the sprites that they're using, and I'm not sure if they rework the kind of weird NES and SNES translations. I'm down for that.
I'm sure it'll be bare minimal because that's been their track record.
Yeah, because I mean, like, these games have already been, with the exception of 5, really, and even that got its Steam like glossy coat of paint. Like these games have been re-released a lot.
So Reactor 6 was an inside job.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm also kind of curious.
Mako Energy melted steel beams.
Right.
Okay, so where does all that lead? Aside from, where does all that lead? Like, why does Shinra want to blame Avalanche for anything?
So,
like, I'm trying to figure out how that figures in long term.
So Shinra's long-term plan is to basically like abandon this in favor of like the technology. They basically want to build a new Midgar on top of the Promised Land, and so this Midgar's got to go. And rather than make themselves the dickheads, they just pin it all on Avalanche. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I like the idea that they need to tear down the house before they move out of it, before they buy the new one.
Yeah, right.
That's how real estate works.
Yeah, right. There's nothing to be gained from this one anymore.
Okay, that was pretty cool.
We haven't actually verified this place exists yet, but we should probably start out with the olds.
So it's literally just evil corporation doesn't value human life, so in order to make their enemies look bad, they're willing to do this.
It seems like a lot of trouble just to destroy like a 20th of your entire city.
Right? Well,
when you already have a secret police force that does this, but okay.
Well, and I guess so their line of reasoning for doing that here is that like later when they drop the entire plate, that doesn't feel so out of left field, like this is a company that's willing to do this kind of shit.
I followed the instructions to the letter. Maybe it triggered.
And now she thinks it's her fault that it blew up that bad.
Well, let's hope the city's still in one piece.
But the planet's what matters, right?
Do you know when we set off the first test bomb, the first atomic test bomb, there was the scientists had projected there was only a 9% chance that we would ignite the Earth's atmosphere when the bomb went off.
Only a 9% chance.
Only a 9% chance we'd destroy the planet.
I like those odds.
Someone had to say that with a straight face.
We're putting it all on red, baby.
Watch out for live wires. They're everywhere.
But no, so going back real quick to the HD pixel remakes or whatever they're calling them.
Oh no, like I said, I'm sure these are going to be bare minimal. Like these will probably just be the iPhone ports.
It's just a way to get you to buy them again, which I totally understand. But interestingly enough, out of all of them, the one that I'm most eager to play is FF3, the original 3, because the only way that we got that in the United States was the DS remake, which was quite a different experience than the original NES one, as I'm given to understand it. But here it looks like they're actually doing a more faithful port of the NES version, just with shinier graphics.
The primary explosive?
So we'll actually
I wonder if that's a
get to play
good thing or not, because there's not a lot of people chomping at the bit to play the original Final Fantasy II.
Yeah, no, I don't know why they... I mean, I guess they couldn't release 1 through 6 without 2, but... Really,
it would be weird. And like I said, I'm sure there's an iPhone port already. They're just gonna grab that, slap it in, done, paycheck, cash.
That's the thing, though, too. That it's kind of weird to me that, like, from what they've shown, what they seem to be trying to do is translate the visual style of the originals into these like I guess that's the whole point of like the pixel perfect port, is that they look like the original NES games, but with a higher fidelity, as opposed to like a 32-bit version of the NES game. Like, it's a weird distinction to draw. Is my thought.
Yeah. In
So,
much
like
more
it's
interesting...
it's actually not going to look as good as, say, the PSP version, but it will be more faithful, I guess.
Let that be a lesson.
In much more interesting news, there was speculation. Apparently, there is some sort of Castlevania DS pack that leaked in Australia on Amazon.
Now that is interesting.
And I can't remember if they said it was 3 or 6 of the DS games that
Ooh.
were on it. But
Oh, so like the GBA and the DS ones?
the GBA, I think it was just the GBA at first, and then I think they're gonna do a triple pack of the DS versions.
Ooh, that I will be buying.
That is the most interesting thing I've heard this week.
Well,
The
that'll
same
finally
week that E3 came out.
that'll finally give us a way to do Aria of Sorrow on this channel.
This couldn't.
Well, I mean,
could it?
I have it. It's just
what if
an
it
emulator.
Yeah, that's true. We could do it that way.
But
too.
I would love to pay money for these games that haven't been really accessible
Yeah.
in any meaningful way for 15 years.
Oh, and speaking of E3, I don't know how you'll feel about this one, but the only like new, completely fresh title that I was really truly excited for, and you'll probably know what I'm gonna say, Metroid Dread.
It's only the beginning.
Oh, I thought you said Metro. Metroid. Didn't they announce Metroid Dread before they finished work on Metroid 4?
Yeah, like in 2004, I think it was. But then it just sat idle for a decade and a half. More than that, actually.
I don't know. That series is just kind of dead to me.
Well,
Isn't
so
Metroid
they-
Dead supposed to be a 2D game or
Yeah.
something?
Well, so they got really invested in Prime, and they announced Prime 4, but now I guess Prime 4 is not happening, or maybe
No, they
it's
said they're still doing it.
They're still doing it. Okay, but
I mean, they
in the
said-
meantime, here's another Metroid game that we've been working on.
Yeah, here's Metroid Prime 5 or whatever.
Well, so here's the thing. Like when you look at Metroid Dread, and I don't know how much of the trailer you watched, it's very, very clearly built on the same the same skeleton as Metroid 2 remake on the 3DS, which was a
Metroid
very
Fusion?
no, Samus Returns on the 3DS.
Samus Returns.
So it was the not as good version of AM2R that was officially published by Nintendo.
I thought Metroid Dread was supposed to be about like a superior enemy that you can't fight, so you have to hide from it.
Yes,
Well,
I'm
then
not
that's
explaining this
beat
well.
That's beat for beat the plot to Metroid Fusion.
Let me start this over. Metroid Dread is Metroid 5, so it's the direct sequel to Metroid Fusion. But when you look at how the game plays, it plays exactly like Metroid 2 on the 3DS.
So it plays like that, but thematically it's Metroid Fusion.
I'd like my money now.
That I don't know. I don't know anything about the story or like how that's going to pan out. But the gameplay is very clearly the 3DS word, which I really liked. And the only reason I don't rave about that game more than I do is because AM2R was just so freaking good.
Yeah,
and
well,
I feel like Nintendo missed the opportunity to let them actually like officially make that.
What this is, right?
In kind of the same way that Sonic Mania happened. I feel like that's what they should have done with the Metroid 2 remake.
Have it for saving my life.
Yeah, I remember that came out and being severely underwhelmed by it, especially when the fan remake was 10 times better.
Yes, but that being said, though, I'm rather excited about that because I'm curious to see what they'll do with the really good combat that was in that game with a completely original setting now. Because in a weird way they were sort of limited by the fact that they were trying to do a remake of a Game Boy game.
Okay, I was only trying to help. Oh,
And then they also kind of shoehorned in some kind of frustrating navigation mechanics, if I remember right. So it looks though like they've, like just by having the ability to craft their own unique map for this game, a lot of those issues have been solved. So I am extremely excited for Dread. Did I lose you, Nick?
No.
You're just trying to process what I'm saying.
No, I was just thinking where I had read that, and that wasn't actually the trailer in E3. That was the director interview talking about what the game was going to be about.
Oh, yes,
So I was just curious
sorry.
where the disconnect was.
No, I just used trailer as a catch-all term.
Could collapse at any moment.
Yeah.
If you
Well,
wanna,
no,
you'll
because
have
like
to
what I
use
was
those
referencing
flares.
was specifically what the director was talking about, because he said that the idea he started with Metroid Fusion, he couldn't fully realize with the technology they had at the time.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So
Yeah.
Dread is meant to be a very direct successor to Fusion.
From at least the Clock Tower-esque perspective of you need to run from enemies that are stronger than you.
Oh, okay, cool.
I guess it's supposed to be based on these creatures called the EMMIs, which are super intelligent machines that
Yes,
Samus
I
can't
saw one of
fight.
those. Yeah.
Something.
Yep, I gotcha. That makes sense, and I'm all for that actually. That sounds cool to me.
I mean, what have we got to lose at this point, I guess?
Well, yeah, when you haven't released a proper new Metroid game in 17 years.
I just wanted a good Metroid Prime game, honestly, but
I'm
I don't
still
know.
excited for 4. I mean, I know we haven't seen anything of it, but I love the idea of 4 at long last coming out and not having motion controls.
Oh, good lord, I bet they were there at one point, but had to be stripped out.
So, Nick, remember in the original at this part where Cloud jumped on the train? Here's Sephiroth
No.
for no fucking
Oh.
reason. Yeah, like, here's where the story starts to fall apart. They literally... So...
What does the scene have to do with anything?
Nothing. It's just an excuse to put Sephiroth in the game. Cloud sees fire and he has a flashback. Like, but now here's where it gets even stupider. There he fucking is. Like, who gives a shit?
That is not the reaction I'm supposed to have to this scene.
Nope. And you know why you have
Oh,
that reaction and why this pisses me off so much is because people just... This game isn't for new players. Like,
Yeah, I was going to say, if I'm a new player, I don't know what any of that meant.
no. But except you've probably been to an anime convention and you've seen people dressed as the pretty man with silver hair. Like,
Who's, I guess, dead at this point?
yeah. And this is so stupid because, like I said, the original FF7 was not, you know, a work of art, right? It told a good story for its time, and it introduced Final Fantasy to a new generation, and that's all it had to do. But one thing that it did well was dramatic tension. Like, it was several hours from the first time you hear the name Sephiroth to the time you actually see Sephiroth, and they've built him up, and, you know, the pacing was really good. But in this
You don't see him
game...
until the end of Disc 1.
Yeah, and halfway through Disc 1, the first time you actually see him is on the ship. And then,
Shit.
and that's probably a solid 10 hours into the game, right? But then here he is. We've been playing this for, what, 45 minutes? And here he is without any context, except, of course, you know who it is, because you bought FF7 Remake. It's just stupid. This is stupid.
Chris, you're asking why we need immediate Sephiroth on demand. You're talking about a generation here who, because Vines were too long, they had to create TikTok
Yeah,
because
right.
it was even quicker than Vines.
This
Because
is-
7
this is
seconds was
stupid.
too much of a time investment.
You're right. You're right. Like, I clearly couldn't wait until the calm flashback to get Sephiroth, because this game doesn't go all the way to calm. So they had to shoehorn him in here. But now, tell me, as you watch this, let me know when you hit Sephiroth overload, right? Like when his presence just becomes annoying. Like he's not intimidating anymore. He's just a nuisance. Like, I'm gonna be curious when you feel that, because I'll tell you when it was for me as soon as we get there.
Your hometown burns so bright. The sound of her voice, pleading beneath despair. The shimmer.
I don't know if you heard that, but we got some major thunder over here.
Oh yeah, I heard there was supposed to be a storm moving in.
Yep, we got a severe thunderstorm warning until like 2 in the morning. So naturally, here I am with my computer and PlayStation running at the same time.
I would be loath to live in such a world.
I got a surge protector. I'm gonna be just fine.
This one favor. Don't worry. It's a simple thing. Run, Cloud.
Ugh.
Run away. You have to leave.
This is so stupid, man.
You have to live.
This was a fucking dumb decision.
You bastard!
Oh, by the way, it wasn't real.
I'm
Good. Very good. Hold on.
So another thing in the original game, like
Oh, fuck
Sephiroth,
off.
Sephiroth,
Fuck off.
Yeah. So like any good villain, Sephiroth barely even knew who Cloud was. Like, you know, he was busy doing his
Cloud
own
was
thing.
so inconsequential to his overall plan.
Yeah, right.
I'm seeing things.
Cloud was basically just the guy with the plastic spork who happened to raise it at just the right time
Yep.
and skewer him.
Well, yeah.
There was nothing about there was nothing heroic about what he did. He just kind of reacted and
Right. Well, and not only that though, but like in the game itself too, Hojo even says, you know, out of all the clones, I'm surprised it was the failure because Cloud is considered a failure. Like who made it this far and who actually gave
Army
Sephiroth
of clones.
Yeah, right. So like Sephiroth didn't even know who he was until he handed him the black materia. Like there was no rivalry between the two. They weren't like old friends, you know.
I'm confused as to the game assumes I know who Sephiroth is,
Right.
but it seems to be rewriting Cloud's past from the previous game, which I guess it assumes I know what that is.
Yeah, so what they're trying to do is make Sephiroth more of like a
Well,
domineering
obviously
presence,
because
right? What like he's
domineering. I
harassing
thought they're just
Cloud.
trying to like humanize him so he like can't straight up be the villain. He has to be gray because
I don't know. Whatever they're trying to do, it falls extremely flat for me. Like I would very much prefer that he was not even in this game. Like I would very much
So
love.
what you're saying is Ryan Johnston directed the first of the 3 parts of this game, not the second. Okay, all right, I got you.
Yeah, if you were gonna go that route, I guess it's just it's so dumb. Like because they in
see them
trying to include him
overcomplicate a
more,
fairly-
they undo what made him a good villain in the first place.
Yeah, see, okay, here's my quick rant is that you don't need to overcomplicate a simple story.
No.
You know why Die Hard works so well? Because it's a simple story. Terrorists take over the Nakatomi building, but there's a cop inside that they didn't plan on being there.
Right.
Okay, it's not like Hans Gruber is working with the government. It's not like they have
Right.
an insider. It doesn't need to be
Yeah.
more complicated than it is.
Well, like so to run with that comparison a little bit, like what if they remade Die Hard, but like from the beginning, Hans Gruber knew that that John McClane was going to be in the building that night, and that's why he decided to do his terror. He wanted to
Right.
he wanted to test John McClane's abilities to see if he really was the ultimate badass.
Are you okay?
Because that's what they're fucking doing here.
Hey, are you
Be-
okay?
because like Sephiroth's whole motivation just seems to be to dick with Cloud.
Is this Sephiroth, or is it a hallucination, or is the hallucination Sephiroth?
Yeah.
Or...
So they kind of run with the idea that Sephiroth has like a psychic link with all of his clones, and here like he can play with Cloud's emotions. But it
Is that
gets-
how it was in the first game? Because I thought in the first game, and it's been like 15 years
Yeah.
for a good reason, I thought he just had like severe PTSD, which is
He does.
fundamentally more interesting.
Yes, and that is the crux of it. But so like he can use that.
In your case,
So Cloud does have PTSD, but he's also, because of the Genova cells, linked to Sephiroth. And so Sephiroth issues the reunion to bring all of the Genova cells back.
God, I forgot about the reunion.
Yeah,
Oh,
and so
God.
that's what he's doing here. But instead of like a subliminal kind of thing, it's literally just Sephiroth like appearing in these stupid visions and taunting him.
So keep your distance.
It is
Do you
it is the
remember
absolute
Final
dumbest thing.
Fantasy 4 when Cecil went to the moon to kick his brother's ass?
relax.
I-
No one's going to attack you. I promise.
No, technically his uncle, I think.
Well,
A Mako reactor
to
just
save
moved.
his brother, I guess.
Yeah,
Shouldn't
say-
be out
say-
here by yourself.
Save his brother from his uncle. Is that what it? Wait, was Zemus another? Well, now I'm remembering FF4 wrong.
No, Zemus was just an angry guy in the moon.
Yeah, Fusoya. Fusoya was Cecil's uncle.
Was he? I thought he was just like
Yeah.
more of like an older character.
No, he said Kluya was his brother.
You remember when Cecil went to the moon to save the world? Did that game need to be super complicated?
No. And it would have been stupider had it gotten any more complicated than that. So, anyways, to answer your question a little bit more about Sephiroth, without giving anything
Wait, are
away,
they
because
here to shoot you or the ghost? Wait,
they can't
what?
see the ghost. So
why can't they see the ghost?
So
like...
these are called the Whispers, and the Whispers, the Whispers are an addition by the director who knew that the fan base wasn't going to like the way that he played with the story. So the Whispers are emblematic of the fan base of the original game who want everything to stay the same. So what the Whispers do is they try to make sure that everything happens exactly in the way that it happened in the original game. But by adding them, they completely destroy the fun of the original game. So,
fuck off.
I know. So it's a meta narrative. So they insert the Whispers as a meta narrative and as some kind of Kingdom Hearts bullshit to have these mysterious hooded figures. But then going back to Sephiroth real quick.
I haven't been this irritated since I watched Zack Snyder's.
Oh, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse because there's actually another twist about Sephiroth and why he appears to know Cloud so personally, right? As opposed to in the first game.
Can you just be like? Can you just be?
Alrighty, sorry about the technical difficulties there, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned, we're experiencing some thunderstorms here in sunny Bloomington, so, Nick, that's going to be the end of this episode, but, needless to say, you're in for a whole lot more of shocking Sephiroth twists that are less shocking and more, Is there a verb for wanting to pull my pubic hair out of my body?
I feel that the amount of times... Am I even here? No. I feel like the amount of times that I have referenced Zack Snyder's Justice League cut is aptly appropriate because I'm not watching it for the creator's vision at this point. I am here just to watch the dumpster fire. Like,
yeah. You'll get a dumpster fire, my friend. Don't you worry.
I am waiting to see like when the fire hits the like fireworks. You know, I'm maybe the fire will turn green because it hit toxic chemicals. Like it is. It is a sight to see.
It is. And so, like I said, from what you can see of this game so far, the graphics are very clearly well done. Midgar is...
It looks great, and it sounds great.
Yeah, Midgar is fully realized. The voice cast is nice.
Of nothing.
And then, yeah, so like, this game is knocked down from, like, a 10 out of 10 for me to, like, a 6.5 or a 7, because... the directors are convinced that they have some kind of artistic vision that adds to the original, when what they really have is just the very worst of what Square-Enix has become in the last 20 years. And it's like all on full display in this game. So, it's frustrating.
Would you say you have read fan fiction written better than this game?
Well, that's the thing. And I'm not saying this to be pretentious, but I avoid fan fiction like the plague because the original material to me is what I enjoy, and I'm okay with a story being self-contained. This game is not okay with that. It wants to rewrite the narrative and make it palatable for a generation of people who grew up only knowing in broad strokes what the original was supposed to have accomplished in its storytelling. And it goes to great pains to undo that. Yeah, I guess. But anyways, we'll be back next time. We'll play more of this game, and God help me, I'm gonna enjoy this game. But I will tell you very clearly where like the fun is happening and when the fun just grinds to a stop. And that's kind of the dichotomy of this game, right? There's parts that are absolutely brilliant, and then there's other parts where it's just like, why did you even...
And then there are parts
program this
where it just says "Run, Cloud, run away,
run, Cloud,
Simba.
run, Forrest.
Run, Simba,
yeah,
run, Simba, and never return."
Shit, man.
Except
Yeah.
you're no Jeremy Irons, Sephiroth.
Oh, hey, by the way, Jeremy Irons was the absolute highlight of the Watchmen show, so I hope you enjoy that.
Oh, he's in that. Who does he play?
Oh, are you... Okay, I will spoil this for you, but are you ready?
He plays the comedian.
No, he plays Ozymandias. And he is...
Oh, wait, I knew that.
Yes.
I knew that,
But
strangely enough.
he plays Ozymandias having gone more than a little insane over the years. So that's all I'll say. Anyways, Nick, next time we meet, hopefully no thunderstorms to shut us down. We'll get another episode in here, and yeah.
Yes, we'll rely on the community standards to shut us down next time.
Exactly. We'll see you then, buddy.